The first time I saw a trailer for Elvis, I couldn't help but notice this part with the dumbest line. It's so dumb. This one.
We are two odd, lonely children reaching for eternity.
So before I even watched it, I had already decided I'm going to open up this video talking about that stupid line and how stupid the writing is for that part. Because my reaction to the trailer was, if there's going to be lines like that, I'm going to hate this movie. And then, during the movie, we discover that that is a line from a comic book. Because Elvis read comics when he was a kid. The worst line in the movie is from comic books. Fuck. Elvis is about the life of Elvis. The ups and downs and life and death and everything in between. Most of it, however, focuses on Elvis Presley's relationship with his piece of shit manager, played by Tom Hanks. Austin Butler plays the man, the myth, the legend, the king. And all I gotta say is, this dude was amazing. His moves, his voice, his facial expressions. I don't know how, but he became Elvis Presley. He had the balls to do what most actors won't. He actually sang. He sang the songs himself. Good for you, dude. And you know what? He sounds like Elvis. Remember Rami Malek in Bohemian Rhapsody as Freddie Mercury? He didn't have the balls to sing, and I thought that it looked like bad lip syncing. I didn't think he did that good of a job. And he won an Oscar. This dude playing Elvis was much better. I would say that from all the music biopics, all the movies about musicians, I would say that Austin Butler is the best, but no. Joaquin Phoenix as Johnny Cash, still the GOAT. Austin Butler was a close second, though. He did an amazing job. He's come a far way since the Shannara Chronicles.
That was like 8 years ago, asshole. People don't forget.
Tom Hanks plays the shithead manager, Colonel Tom Parker, I think he goes by. Oh, you know, he was raised by carnies, so he's a con man. Classic case of shitty manager milks the talent for all they're worth. Not my favorite Tom Hanks performance. He had this accent that I couldn't quite place. I'm not sure where he's from, but his accent was very high-pitched, so it sounded like a bad Mario impersonation. And he was the narrator of the entire story. This whole movie is narrated by Mario. We're just the two children reaching for eternity. There wasn't a ton of focus on the other characters in the movie. Priscilla had her moments, but it's mostly about Elvis versus his manager and their whole relationship. I would have loved to see more from other people in his life and people that influenced him, but I guess they're just not that important. Okay, well, I don't hate this movie, but also, I don't love it. The pacing is insane. It has no idea what to do. The first hour is basically on crack, and I needed it to slow down. They just fast forward through so many life events, and I found myself wondering what actually happened in those moments, because they just touched on them. It's like, this happens to Elvis, this happens to Elvis, this happens to Elvis, on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. I would have liked to know more about these bullet points that we got to see. I'm not a leading expert on Elvis, so I don't really know what happened in his life, and I'm interested in knowing what happened in his life. How did this action affect this person? We didn't get much of that. For example, Elvis apparently joins the army for 2 years. We get one scene about that, and it has nothing to do with him in the army. It's all about Priscilla. I'd say the movie doesn't really slow down until he's already married and has a kid. And trust me, when it comes to that Priscilla relationship, they just gloss over that really quick. They're like, oh, by the way, Elvis got married. Okay, on to the next thing. So then the last 45 minutes, last hour of the movie, they really slow down to focus on the last 5 years of his life. And I feel like that last hour was the best part of the movie, but it didn't feel earned because the setup for these characters was so sloppy and surface level. I just could have used a little more depth here. I think maybe it's because the conflict between Elvis and his manager doesn't really start to boil over until the later part of his life. And this is the conflict that they chose to flesh out the most. So I think they wanted to rush to get there instead of letting things play out naturally. When I sit down to watch a movie, I would like to watch a movie. I don't want to sit and watch an hour and a half of a highlight reel. There is a lot here to make a great movie about Elvis. The acting talent is there, the story of Elvis is interesting, and at least visually, things did look great. They just didn't put it together very well. It was just poorly directed, and that sucks because we could have had another Walk the Line here. I think they did do a good job at showing how soul and blues music influenced Elvis. They had a clear vision of what inspired him and made him who he was. That was good. So yeah, this is not the quality of Walk the Line. Instead, we have a totally fine Elvis biopic with an amazing actor that literally becomes another person for the role. I wish the director put as much effort into it as Austin Butler did, I can say that. Even as Elvis ages, they use old clips and superimpose his face on Elvis's body, but he still looks so much like Elvis that you can't tell. It's seamless. For sure, if you're gonna see it for Austin Butler. And if you see it, you won't be bored, that's for sure. It wasn't boring at all. Just be ready to speed through the first hour. Don't blink, you might miss something. Okay? See ya! Subscribe! You know, I was thinking about trying to do an Elvis impersonation, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I can't do it. I feel too stupid. Well, thank you very much!